Well, this issue of the Tribune magazine is about vampires. Now, depending on how old you are, when you hear the word vampire, what comes to your mind is possibly either Christopher Lee in very elegant black and red cape, or Robert Pattinson glittering in the sun and attending high school over and over again for eternity. But this story isn't about fictional vampires, it's about people who call themselves real vampires. Now, this is a interesting subculture that you find mostly in the West, of course, and in America. And this story actually is from New York City. And it's sort of like an outgrowth of the S&M subculture with goth overtones, and they dress up in this sort of vampiric, deep reds and blacks, and then they have their little vampire nightclubs. And while for some of them, I'm sure it's just a sort of fun hobby that, in the day they're doing their 9 to 5 and they're working in their banks and whatnot, and at night they put on their vampire regalia and then they go on to these clubs and they act all, bloodsucky. But some of them actually take it very seriously, and they've commissioned studies, and their sort of contention is that these people actually have a need, they're energy deficient, and they have a need for energy that cannot be fulfilled through, say, like you and I would do it, by perhaps having a cup of coffee or a good meal. They need extra energy, and that they get from other humans. What this story has is that it starts out in actually a vampire event in a nightclub. It's got interviews with various vampires. Apologies to Anne Rice there if I've stolen that particular title. And it sort of explores the dimensions of this subculture. And interestingly enough, they're now saying that, well, there's a lot more interest in our subculture, largely because of how popular vampires are nowadays. True Blood, Twilight, of course, the fantastic Interview with the Vampire series, that's a little older. And also it sort of explores the reason why vampires have this, mystique that perhaps other creatures of the night, like werewolves or zombies, don't. And it's really a lot to do. There's a very clear sexual element, of course, to the whole vampire mythos. And that's about the size of it.